Eight and welcome to this science lesson about the big topic where do we come from, and today is a lesson 2. So let's start the lesson with the drawing question for today. Remember that you need to write down the drawing question, underline the drawing question in your exercise book so you can start the lesson with that. We can start the lesson. So underneath the drawing question you can see the keywords that we are going to use today during this lesson, and by the end of this lesson you will be more familiar with all of them. Okay, so let's start with the first one. So the first one, it is variation. So what does it mean, variation? What is variation? So variation is the name given to the all differences between individuals or living organisms of the same species. Okay, so the variation can be caused by two factors, and in fact can be caused by genetic or can be caused by the environment that will surround you. So to better understand what does it mean, variation due to genetic or environmental causes, we can just have a look to choose twins, two identical twins. So I put here two pictures of two guys, and as you can see they are twins, and you can, observing these two pictures, you can find ways in which Tom and James are the same, caused by the genes, and ways in which Tom and James are different, caused by environments. Okay, so if you look at that, these are two pictures, so what we can say are the ways in which Tom and James are the same, caused by genes. So I would say that the two ways that they are the same is the skin color, first of all, and the hair color. Okay, actually we cannot really see the eyes color, but I will say that if they are the same we can add this feature, this characteristic, so too. And ways in which Thomas and James are different, that caused by the environment, I would say that one of the way they are different, it could be the length, the hair length, okay? Because as you can see, the guy on the left has a shorter hair compared to the guy on the right, okay? So these two pictures show us that between organisms belonging to the same species, we can see differences, and these differences are called variation. Then, when we are talking about variation due to the characteristic that you can inherit from both your parents, you are talking about inherited variation, and you need to stress when you are talking about inherited variation. So, due to the characteristic that you can inherit from both your parents, that the new offspring will be a combination of the feature that you can see in both parents. Instead, when you are talking about variation due to factors, for example, different factors as the surroundings, then you are talking about environmental variation. Okay, so when you are talking about variation, we were talking so far about variation between human beings, but variation is observed also in plants and in animals. For example, we can see here peppers, the same species of peppers, that is a vegetable, but you can see that you have different shapes and different colors, and the same for animals like this butterfly, where you can see you have different color and combination in wings. Okay, then this is the first task for you today. So if I put some characteristic here on the left, what you need to do is that you need to tell me if they are environmental, inherited, or a mixture of both characteristic. Okay, due by environmental variation, inherited variation, or mix of both. Okay, so please pause the video, take your time to do the task, and we will check your answer later. Great, so it's time to have a look to the mark scheme. So for each one of them characteristic, we need to say if they are environmental variation, inherited variation, and mixture of both. So for the first one, hand length is of course environmental, and we observed that when we were looking at the two twins, the twins pictures. And then suntan is environmental because it depends how long are you exposed to the sun, and high color is inherited. Weight is a mixture of both because it could be depends by genes but also by your lifestyle. Intelligence is a mixture of both. Presence of earlobe is inherited. Blood group inherited. Tattoo, of course, is environmental because you will decide to have it or not. Eighth is a mixture of both, and speed at running is a mixture of both. So now let's move forward and let's focus a little bit more about inheritance, because we were talking about inherited variation, and I said that they are features that you can inherit from both your parents. But how this happen? So inheritance is when characteristics are passed down from your parents, and the information is passed through genes. So to better understand what is a gene, is better to start with the definition of DNA, where the DNA is the chemical that contains all genetic information that you will need in your cells, in the nucleus of your cells, and genes are a little section of this chemical. You can find genes in chromosomes. That is the way DNA is arranged inside the nucleus of your cell. Okay, and for each gene, you can have alternative forms. For example, eye color. You have the gene of the eye color, but you can have alternative forms because you can have brown eyes, you can have blue eyes, or green eyes. So all the alternative forms of the genes are called allele. Okay, so we said that the inherited variation is due to the inherited characteristic that you will inherit from both your parents. Okay, but when this happen, so this happen and this variation is passed down through genes. But when this is happening during sexual reproduction. That is the way human being will reproduce. Okay, and this is happening because both your parents, so both parents, female and male, will produce sex cells, and we have egg cells for female and sperm cell for male. Both these cells will contain half the number of chromosomes in a normal cell, and these two cells will fuse together during a process called fertilization. And when they will fuse, they will make a new cell made of a complete number of chromosomes. Okay, and this is the moment in which the inherited characteristics are passed down parents through passed down from parents through genes. And what we need to stress is that the new cell, that will be the new offspring, will be a combination of genetic information from both parents. And this is the reason why you are similar to your parents, but you are not identical to your parents, because you will be genetically different to either parents, because you are the new offspring will be a combination of the genetic information from both parents. Okay, so now there's a new task for you guys. So I put some gaps in these sentences that you need to fill using the keywords underneath, and of course it's about fertilization. It is the process that we were just talking about. And what we said during fertilization, we said that during sex reproduction, the female parents will release the sex cell called egg cell. The male parents will release the sperm cell. These two cells will contain half the number of the chromosomes. So when they will fuse together, the new cell will have the complete number of chromosomes. So please pause the video, take your time to complete the task. You don't have to copy the whole sentences, just write down the words that you are going to put in the gaps in the right order, and we will check your answer later. Great, so let's have a look to the mark scheme. So the DNA from the mother is in the nucleus of the egg cell. The nucleus of the sperm cell contains the father's DNA. When the sperm cell fertilizes the egg cell, the two nuclei join, and DNA from both parents will give the instruction for a baby. Okay, and remember, this baby will be a genetic combination of both parents. Okay, it will be similar but not identical to the parents. Okay, now as a normal lesson, there's a science lesson, there's a writing phase now. So I prepared for you 4 different questions, 4 different levels, and for the first 2, actually, I prepare in the next slide a starter sentence that will help you to complete the task. So individuals, for example, individuals vary from each other through what? What we said that will make individuals different. it will make individuals difference. Then categorize variation. This is similar to the first test that we did together. So if I put here some characteristic for all of them, you need to tell me if it is inherited, environmental, or a mixture of both. Variation, and then explain how inherited features are passed on to the next generation. So how the inherited features are passed on through through parents down the parents, and explain how variation is the inherited feature of a species occurs using idea of DNA, genes, and sexual reproduction. Okay, so in the last one, actually, you need to explain better why the new generation is not identical to parents, but a combination. Okay. And pause the video, please. Take your time to do the task, and we will check later your answer. It's time to mark now, so get ready with a green pen or at least a different color pen. And remember that marking is not just giving a tick to your answer, but add extra detail if you miss something during the task. Okay, so for the first one, describe ways in which individuals vary from each other. Individuals vary from each other through variation due to genetic or inherited or environmental causes. Categorize variation as inherited, environmental, or both. So eye color is inherited, height is both, skin color both, hair length environmental, hair color both because you can change it, and blood group is inherited, and weight is both, tattoo environmental, piercing environmental. Okay, and the next one is explain how inherited features are passed on to the next generation. Inheritance is when characteristics are passed down from your parents. The information is passed through genes. Female and male sex cell will fuse during fertilization. Half of the genetic information will belong to the father and half to the mother. Then for the last one, explain how variation in the inherited feature of species occurs. During the sexual reproduction, the genetic information from a father and a mother is combined to produce offspring which are genetically different to either parent. The new generation genetic information will be a combination of parents' genetic information. For this reason, it will be similar but not identical to parents. Okay? Please pause the video if you need time to check your answer or add extra details. And the very last thing is you need to write down the plenary. So today I've achieved. Remember that the first cap is for describe, explain, use, and combine. Instead, the last one, you need to explain why did you achieve what you achieved and use these sentences to help yourself, okay, in explaining. And pause the video if you need time to copy them. And the very last thing that I want to remind you is that don't forget to do the 10 quiz question on show my homework. Click on the show my homework entry for this lesson, then click the quiz. So thank you guys, well done for today, and see you next lesson.